Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this exciting forward-thinking discussion on synthetic labor hosted by Knowledge Lake. I'm thrilled to have two veteran and industry leaders and thought leaders with us today, Pascal Bornet and Russ Maltz, who will guide us through this concept of synthetic labor. Pascal is an author and globally recognized thought leader in intelligent automation, having been named one of the top most influential voices in AI. His work has helped companies shape the future of automation across various industries. Russ Maltz is also an industry veteran in the automation sector. He is currently CRO at Knowledge Lake, responsible for driving sales efforts and leading the company overall strategically. In the past, Russ has worked for companies such as Blue Prism and Hyperscience, so he's no stranger to the challenges of deploying and implementing leading edge automation technologies. So welcome both of you, Pascal and Russ. Thank you for joining us today. Today's topic is synthetic labor, and at a high level, it's about harnessing the power of AI to handle laborious, repetitive tasks that have consumed vast amounts of human energy and resources. The synergy of machine intelligence and human oversight allows organizations to not only improve efficiency, but to also liberate human talent to be more strategic, creative, and deliver higher value work. Throughout this webinar, Pascal and Russ will dive into real-world use cases, highlight how synthetic labor can be integrated into your organization, and outline strategy to optimize AI for enhancing productivity and delivering tangible business outcomes. At the end, towards the end of the webinar, we'll also be giving away copies of Pascal's latest book, Irreplaceable: The Art of Standing Out in an Age of Artificial Intelligence, as well as offering up an opportunity to win some free consulting services from Knowledge Lake. Stay with us. There's more details to come on those opportunities. But let's get started, and we've got a great session ahead of us today. So without any further delay, Pascal, I'll turn it over to you. The floor is yours.
Andre, thank you very much, and thanks for having me, guys. Very happy to be with you, and it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of insights this morning. Russ, great to talk to you, and I have a lot of questions for you.
Fantastic.
I would start with one key thing about the adoption of AI, the level of adoption of AI that we see in businesses currently. And I would start with one data that really is intriguing. Out of the latest research, we see that about 10 to 15% of the companies have scaled their AI transformation around the world. But on the other side, which is very low, we would expect much more than that. On the other side, we see more than 75% of employees, knowledge workers, using extensively AI in their daily work. So I see a great discrepancy between how employees are using AI and how those companies are using AI. And yeah, that makes me think, wow, people are adopting AI faster than their companies, and that's really an intriguing point about the adoption of AI. I'm curious, Russ, what do you see on the market? How do you feel those companies are adopting AI?
Yeah, thanks. Pascal, great to be here with you. Really appreciate you joining us here today. We're seeing, AI adoption is accelerating rapidly, and some of the key shifts that we're seeing, some of the key trends that we're seeing that are reshaping organizations are these. Number one, I think there's a real shift that's happening here as companies look to move from RPA to intelligent automation. So this is a trend that we're seeing. What we're seeing is companies that are shifting towards intelligent automation are combining RPA with AI and machine learning to enable system decisions, to learn from data and manage complex processes autonomously. We think this evolution is really transforming how people think about digital labor. So back to your question, yes, there's a lot of individual adoption. Many companies, I think, set up some rigid type processes that they're looking to now take to the next level. Number two, we're seeing a trend of more focus on business outcomes and speed to value. So many organizations are seeing just what you said, right? They're realizing that there's a lot of technology available. And they're realizing that AI isn't just about adopting the latest technology, it's about driving tangible business outcomes and doing that quickly. So time to value has become a critical metric, and companies are no longer interested in drawn out implementations. They want automated solutions that deliver measurable results in weeks, not months. Our platform is really designed to accelerate this process. A third trend that we're seeing is continual improvement through extensibility. This, I think, ties back to the point you made. Again, there's so many interesting technologies available. So a key trend is the demand for platforms that are extensible and adaptive. As business needs continue to evolve, companies want their AI systems to grow and improve over time without needing constant overhauls that include hardware updates and software updates. This idea of continual improvement, I think, will be more and more important, largely because of the rate of change. Cloud native platforms that are designed to scale and adapt and enhance capabilities, I think, are going to become more and more important. This not only drives immediate impact, but long-term agility and competitiveness. Another trend, AI for work augmentation, not replacement. There's been a shift in how businesses view AI in the workforce. And instead of replacing humans, more and more, we're seeing companies achieve great results to augment people, freeing up their most talented contributors to do more creative work, to do more strategic work. And this is really where the concept of synthetic labor comes into play. It's about seamlessly integrating AI into daily operations, handle mundane tasks while empowering people to focus on higher value activities. One of the things I talk a lot about is fewer smart people doing more work better, right? Companies want less people, but they want to be able to achieve the results. And then finally, we're seeing a trend around demand for scalability and integrated solutions. Organizations don't want a piecemeal approach. They want end-to-end automated platforms that reduce complexity and provide real-time data insights. So platforms that offer flexibility, scalability, and help companies unlock new levels of efficiency and productivity while enabling future growth, we think will be the way of the future. So those are 5 trends that we're seeing now.
I'm quite aligned on that. So definitely the need for more intelligent platforms that are able to automate more end-to-end processes instead of isolated tasks as we used to have with RPA. That's definitely a trend that I see as well with my the companies that I help. The focus on business outcome is something very important. We've seen so many companies going into AI or automation just because they heard about it. They are kind of blinded by the shiny potential benefits and the shiny tools as well. And when it comes to actual benefits from those platforms, we often see a lack here. And so the focus on business outcome is something that is extremely important, more and more important, and I think will be more and more important in the future because the more the investments are high, the more we want to see the return, and we want to be able to quantify it and to justify it. So that's critical.
It's a great point. And Pascal, in your experience, I mean, you're seeing such a broad range of things. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you see as the current state of AI adoption and automation, and how rapidly the market is moving.
I've been in the space for more than 20 years, and I've been so happy 2-3 years ago when ChatGPT came to life, and we came to a democratization of artificial intelligence, where everyone everyone in the world can, from their phones, try it and see it and discuss with it and experience it, and from there we've seen an increase of how CEOs and leaders were talking about using AI, and maybe we got to hype, meaning very high expectations. And that of course usually go into a deflation and the realization that the reality is far from the hype. And I think we are there currently, where a lot of companies have said, yes, we are doing everything, and finally we see, as I said in introduction, 10 to 15% only of the companies being able to scale those transformations. So it's a bit disappointing in a way. What is great on the other side is that a lot of companies now are aware of the capabilities of AI. Their people, their employees are aware as well, and they are, as I said at the beginning, willing to use it. So there is a huge opportunity here for companies to leverage these trends, inform, educate, empower their employees, and finally incentivize them to use those tools. A data that I didn't give you at the beginning is that out of those 75% of employees who are using extensively AI at work, 78% of them use unsanctioned versions of those AIs. So basically AIs that are not officially accepted by their companies.
Right.
That's another big trend as well. So we see that companies should leverage this opportunity of having their people ready to use AI by informing them, educating them, empowering them, incentivizing them.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it's about also educating them on the limits and also giving them the tools. I mean, people don't want to wait to get the benefits. So give them the tools that they want. Accelerate the rate of making those tools safe in your environment, and give them to the people so that they can use them.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's funny, even in my own team, we've talked about this openly. Many of us, myself included, will pay the extra $20 for ChatGPT, right? People want to use these things. We have to do it responsibly. However, you also see the potential, right, when you're looking to integrate complex ideas or combine things, especially with some of the more emergent models. Strawberry, for instance, or ChatGPT 01, very good at synthesizing information in a very sensible way. So very time saving and can act as a great assistant. But when you look at the enterprise, I'd love to get your take on two things. One is hype versus reality. I think you touched on that. And the second is misconceptions about having integrated AI automation in processes. I'd love to get your take on both of those things.
Yes. So on integrating AI and automation in processes, remember the time of RPA, and then the times of intelligent automation, which was in the 2020s, late 2015, I would say. And so a lot of companies went into this. They saw the limitations. I mean, they saw, first of all, a lot of benefits from those automations, but also some limitations in the fact that those automations were quite predefined and breakable, easily breakable, and took time to build, and were not adaptable to the changing environment that we have. So there was a lot of great things there, but then came the hype of Gen AI 2 years ago, and then that completely hided. I mean, and took the front of the scene, and intelligent automation really went in the back of the scene. Nobody was talking about it anymore. But what we see now is that Gen AI is great. It's doing great job at, writing, creating, but those are only tasks that are great.
That's right.
Points, great at benefits, but those are only tasks that are quite isolated and that always require people to prompt, copy, the outcome from those large language model, paste them into an email or into a report. It's the work that we do with those systems is very manual. That's, in my view, the reason why it's difficult to scale. And when you connect what we've seen with intelligent automation and RPA and what we see now with Gen AI, there are a lot of, I see weaknesses being offset by the one,
Yes.
and offset by the other. So basically, they complete each other. And I would say currently the great opportunity that companies have is to combine the powerfulness of Gen AI with the capabilities of intelligent automation in combining and automating end-to-end processes.
Yes.
We discussed a little bit before, and I understand the synthetic labor concept is really about it. That's why I'm very excited about learning more about it. And I'm curious as well to know what do you think are the biggest misconceptions in your view, what are the biggest obstacles that companies are facing in implementing AI currently?
Yeah, great question. And I really appreciate what you're saying here. I remember being in the field quite a bit, 2017, 18, 19, and people had great success with RPA. There's a lot of good things you could do. And then what we started hearing is there are some challenges because of brittleness of code, other things, maintenance being important. Some platforms were on site, right? There's a lot of concern about security. So because of the chatty nature of some of the platforms, difficult to do cloud native, right? So we heard some of that, and I couldn't agree with you more. There's a great fit between the current state of generative AI and combining what we would previously call intelligent automation capabilities with our software. So, big misconceptions that I'm seeing here really is that business have this concept that integrating AI automation will be complex, time-consuming, and disruptive to existing workflows. And many fear that it will require significant restructuring or take a long time to deliver. So time to value is a real challenge. Many organizations are also lost in analysis paralysis. I've talked to a lot of companies that say, well, we're studying this, we're looking at this, we're dipping our toe in there. And with so many innovations happening so quickly, they fear making the wrong decision. So, I believe in reality with the right platform, AI can be seamlessly integrated into current process and deliver rapid results with minimum disruptions. Mm-hmm. And this sort of leads to synthetic labor. I would say, you touched on that. We struggled with how do we represent to the market in an understandable way the capabilities of our platform. And after a lot of great feedback from industry experts like yourself and also conversations, we trademarked the term synthetic labor. And in our mind, synthetic labor is the next evolution of automation. While traditional automations focus on repetitive tasks and predefined workflows, synthetic labor integrates AI to create more intelligent, adaptive systems. So going beyond simply executing tasks, our software can learn, analyze, and even in some cases make decisions real time. Now, some of this is maturing very quickly, but that's our vision, and that's where we're seeing great benefit now. And what sets synthetic labor apart is its ability to work alongside human teams, augmenting their efforts rather than just augmenting simple processes. So this creates a more dynamic, scalable approach for operations. The system isn't rigid, it's built to evolve and adapt to changes in the business environment, which make it a driver of efficiency and innovation. So, it's really interesting. Back to your original data points where individuals are using this technology faster than business can adapt. We clearly see that. And this idea of a more fluid system where you can start small and work with humans, demonstrate results, and then continue to do more, in our mind is a more natural approach. Synthetic labor also importantly learns like a human team would learn. So the idea is you're not programming it to learn, you're training it to learn. This is a big mind shift, but this is where we see things going, and one of the things I'm very excited about here.
That's very interesting. And so synthetic labor is, if I understand well, the capacity to replace some of the labor that are unexciting, repetitive, tedious, currently performed by some teams, and preventing them to focus on more value-add activities. These work can still remain in those teams, but can be performed by a technology that is capable of learning what they do, adapting to different contexts, and performing this work for them so that they can focus on more value add and exciting activities. So that's very important concept that we need to bring to more companies, because I've seen, and I've done as well, when I was younger, some work that you wouldn't wish for your worst enemy, doing copies and pastes the whole day, or repeating the same tasks the whole day is something that no human should do, basically.
Yeah, I think you're right on. Expanding on that a little bit, as we look at synthetic labor, again, it's the desire to go beyond, to sort of move past and learn from some of the technologies that have been implemented. And again, many companies have had great success with different types of automation, including intelligent document processing, including RPA, including workflow. These are all important technologies, and they're sort of fundamental. I think in some cases, these have been very siloed as well, which creates different challenges. But again, in our view, what sets synthetic labor apart is it sort of represents the shift towards agentic labor. So, as you know, people like Sam Altman and others are really focusing in on this concept of agentic labor. And agentic labor really refers to AI systems that not only perform tasks, but act autonomously to make decisions, learning continuously, adapt to changing environments. Again, very similar to how a human would work. Yes. So if you think about that as a system, right, synthetic labor as a system embodies this shift, enables businesses to leverage AI, not just reactively, but proactively, and drive, again, towards these business outcomes. This shift towards agentic labor creates significant opportunities for business to transform. A big focus is operational efficiency right now. That's important for both scalability and sustainability, and allowing organizations to make changes in the market or respond better to regulatory changes, right? Without having to reprogram, recode, hire people, fire people, look to outsource. So the result is automation systems that keep pace with rapid change in today's landscape. And in addition, where we're seeing a lot of traction, a lot of interest, is a trend of repatriatizing work that's been outsourced. And it's just what you said, a lot of people cutting and pasting, doing non-differentiated, basic, boring work. And many organizations are now realizing they can bring previously outsourced tasks back in-house and leveraging synthetic labor to handle these processes efficiently. So this really puts more control back in the hands of the business. It could improve security, could maintain and increase quality and efficiency, all while reducing a dependency on external vendors. It also provides amazing agility, right? If market conditions change and scale up or down, mortgages, for instance, right? We have a lot of conversations where you're seeing demand for labor is going to go up and down depending on rates. In those types of situations where you're processing a lot of paper, you're doing a lot of manual work, there's a great fit for synthetic labor. So this is more than just about automating existing workflows. It's about creating a truly intelligent agentic system that learns, adapts, and scales alongside the business, helping drive long-term transformation and helping companies stay in front of the curve, right? Ensuring competitive advantage.
Excellent. So just to repeat with my words what I understood from the synthetic labor concept, it's a platform, a technology that helps to delegate. Employees can delegate to this platform this work that is repetitive and usually low value, but high volume. And this work, the way to delegate it's not about explaining each step of what has to be done and what used to be done by humans. It's about telling it how to do it. Telling it what to achieve, basically, giving more the goal, and letting it learn from the way we do it as humans. And from this, the platform is able to build those workflows by itself and to perform those activities by itself and learn from it. So there is a kind of a memory Also a concept of understanding if the goal is reached or not, and what to learn from it. So there is kind of a loop of feedback that helps to improve the system.
Yes.
An improvement of the system by itself. And you mentioned as well something very important. It's a lot of the work that is this kind of work, tedious, volumetric, is very often about collecting data, and I think there is an opportunity to collect this data from unstructured data sources or documents, or is it something that is possible to do with those technologies?
Yeah, there's a lot there. I love the way you phrase some of this too. And I think I'll start with we think synthetic labor is really a paradigm shift, and it's what you said. You can delegate this work from a human to, think about it, as we say, synthetic labor capability. Businesses are organized around this concept of being able to do work, right? Work output capacity. So this creates another way to do more work better. To answer your second question with an example, for digital labor, a customer might have a document of changing a rule. So for instance, it could be how documents are retained for a county. So we get a 5-page document. Well, in a normal environment, without synthetic labor, without some of the capabilities of large language models, you would have to write code and codify these things, and it would be a very deterministic approach. Now, what we're able to do is you can take an instruction set, here's a change to the way documents should be retained, and feed the document into the system without programming, right? In a way that you would explain something to a human, right? Giving
like a prompt. Would it be like a prompt?
Yes, exactly.
Where you explain the machine that the way we want to do things now is a bit different, or for this type of document, do it this way.
That's
so
exactly it. Yeah.
No more coding, but not even working on the workflows and rule based, and those rule based type of decisions that we used to have. Now it's just by explaining in plain language, the context has changed. You need to do this now, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that's really insightful. And you're right. If you think about prompt engineering, which we're familiar with, that's the underpinning. You're right on. And then if you think about RAG databases, right, being able to collect data that's specific to a company in a secure way, that's another piece of it. And what we've most recently done, and again, this is sort of on the horizon, but I'm really excited about this, and it's right aligned with what you're saying. We had a situation where we were able to take a small sample set of documents that had been done perfectly. So we basically could read and understand a document and have an answer set. We used 5 of those to repeatedly train our software. So in effect, what the software did is it generated prompts, and then it tested, generated again, tested, refined. We found that the prompts generated by our technology were actually better than what our human engineers were able to do, right? So this idea of helping be able to train a workforce in a way that does not involve coding, but delivers business results quickly, that's really key to where we are, where we think things are going, and sort of the fundamental underpinnings of what will become agentic labor. Yeah.
Excellent. Very, very inspiring and impressive. If the capacity to do that is really something that should bring a lot of benefits to your clients. And I would love to hear some stories about those benefits. A lot of people watching us today are leaders, CEOs, business leaders. What can they expect from such a technology? And do you have some stories of what these platforms have been able to bring to existing businesses?
Yeah, I sure do. I'm going to answer that, and then I have a question for you as well. But to try to answer your question again, just to keep this real net, here's a great example of synthetic labor solving a real world problem. one of our clients was relying on over 1,000 people, primarily in India, to handle a large volume of document work, right? So they had to ingest millions of these documents and then classify them. What type of document is this? And then identify fields that would be used to then create metadata and basically be able to search for those documents. And again, they had about 1,000, actually it was over 1,000 people off-sourced. So by implementing synthetic labor, we helped them double their work capacity without having to hire additional staff. Their business is growing quickly. They didn't want to hire another over 1,000 people and train them. It was going to be a real problem. So the AI-driven automation now handles the bulk of repetitive tasks, freeing teams to focus on higher value work like quality control and decision making. So this is not only addressing their current shortage, but also improving operational efficiency and accuracy. Now, the interesting thing, it's a good example, and I'll be real candid. We're able to do 70, 80% of work straight through, which is a huge efficiency gain, huge. The problem now is QA will become a bottleneck, right? So, more on that later, but that's what we're seeing, again, in the form of agents. If you think about what work a human labor pool was doing, it was this work of classification and indexing. Now we're automating that. We're also looking aggressively at some downstream capabilities. But yeah, so that's one example. But I wanted to just turn the tables on you for a minute and just hear from you. We're talking about AI, and again, you've got a great purview, and you're talking to so many customers around the world. What does all this AI automation mean for today's evolving workforce? I'd love to get your take on that.
As I explained it in the book Irreplaceable, that's a huge opportunity for all of us as workers, and that's the capacity, in short, to make our world more human. I mean, and that's the illustration that those technologies are pushing us to be more human. And usually when I say that, people say, "Wow, why? AI pushes us to be more human. How come?" It seems to be the opposite. No, it's really that. On one side, this is exactly what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Those technologies that are taking the robotic work that we usually do, okay, so that we can focus on more value add, exciting activities. And think here of spending more time with our teams. That's very often the first thing that we need to do is spending more time with our teams, coaching them, mentoring them. Second is innovating, thinking of what else should we do. Now we have time to think about it. We have time to improve, to think about the creative aspects of what new services, products can we bring on the market. And it can very simply be just having a better work-life balance, spending more time with our family. That's, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing that we have in life. Okay, that's our work is just a mean to having the comfort and the capacity to raise our kids in safely. But the most important is our families. So spending more time with them, that's priceless. So that's on one side, this capacity of those platforms and technologies and synthetic labor is really here about automating and relieving us, giving us the time basically that we didn't have.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say, just hearing you talk about that, and you said it so elegantly, it reminds me of Stephen Covey's quadrants, right? And it really gives us more time for quadrant 2, those things that are really most important to people in life, right? But often they're the things that are important but not urgent, and we keep getting pulled into these urgent tasks, right? So I do agree, it can help elevate people to be better at what we're good at, connecting with people, right? Connecting with ideas and being better humans. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I love this reference to the Eisenhower metrics, because I really believe in it as well. That it's about having this capacity to focus on what is the most important, which are the long-term, non-urgent, important topics.
Exactly.
So that's one thing. So because we are relieved from those tasks, then we have more time, But on the other side, we see technology taking more and more of the capabilities that we thought made us human. Like we've talked about creativity, we talk about connectivity with others, we talk about critical thinking. And so the key question that I answer in my book, Irreplaceable, is so what are the capabilities that we need to build in order to make our humanity irreplaceable, and most importantly, to create the highest value by creating something that AI will never be able to achieve. So it's about basically creating those uniquely human abilities that AI will never be able to achieve. And by achieving those uniquely human abilities, we make sure that we remain relevant for the future in the very long term. And we also create the highest level of synergy because we are doing something that technology will never be able to do. And so just to give you I found out 3 humics, which are what I call humics, which are the uniquely human abilities. The first one is genuine creativity. The second one is critical thinking. And the third one is social authenticity. So the second reason why AI pushes us to be more human is that in order to create the highest level of synergy with AI, so create the highest level of value with AI, we need to cultivate those uniquely human abilities, bring them to a whole new level, so that we bring this complementarity with AI and avoid any redundancy with AI. So that was my complete answer on your question.
I love it. Andre, I see you rejoined.
Yeah, no, thank you both. And not to interrupt, but I also want to dedicate some time to some questions. So for everybody that's watching and listening in, there's on your right-hand side, there's a question mark where you can submit questions from the audience. And I just wanted to take a minute or two to kind of go over some first to open it up to Q&A. But before we go into Q&A, Pascal has mentioned his book, Irreplaceable. We'll be giving away copies of his book, Irreplaceable. You can either scan the QR code here or send me an email directly. We will be able to send you a copy of Pascal's latest book, Irreplaceable. As well, Russ alluded to this whole idea of synthetic labor, deploying it, managing it. We will be offering up to a select few, some free consulting services and how we can, from Knowledge Lake, on how we can get you guys onboarded and starting exploring some of these themes of synthetic labor and how we can use it to drive some tangible business benefits. So again, you can send me an email, scan the QR code, and then at this point, I'm gonna start looking at questions from our audience. There's a few questions that have been sent in earlier that I'll table to both of you, which is sort of how do you begin integrating AI into a workflow automation? How would you measure success? How do you even begin the process? What do you look for? What workflows would you initially target or look at? I'll turn that over to both you, Russ and Pascal.
Pascal, why don't you go first?
Yes. Answering this question about, and I think we've discussed about the what. What is synthetic labor? We discussed about the benefits we can get from it. We discussed about this relevance in our working world. And now I completely agree with you, Andre. It's about so how to implement it and what are the critical success factors. So it's definitely about identifying use cases, as you mentioned, and prioritizing them. What I see as key success factors, I've never seen an AI transformation succeed without at least two ingredients. The first one is a central focus on people. And when I say this, it's about focusing on informing everyone in the company on what is this AI transformation, what are the benefits, calming all the fears around it. A lot of people are scared. They think they will lose their job. So let's be very honest and very direct on that. You will not lose, or you will have the opportunity to change role, but let's make it very transparent and very clear from the beginning. I've seen so many companies losing key talents because those people think because of AI coming, they will lose their job. So they just leave the company and go and find a new job. Don't take this risk. Be very clear and inform the people. The second is about educating them, so giving them the capacity to use those tools and use them the right way, understand the limits, the dangers, so that they can really use them wisely. And then it's a lot about empowering and incentivizing our people. We need to make sure that as part of the KPIs, the key performance indicators of our people, we include the use of those technologies, and also the fact that they've taken risks in using it, in taking initiatives. I mean, trying and failing probably, but at least they've tried to improve and to use it, and that should be rewarded. So the first thing is about putting the people in the center, and the second is management buy-in. Is critical. I would say it's not about buying. It's not even about sponsorship from management, but I would say it's really about the involvement. So management, CEOs and C-levels should show the example. They should be the role models, using AI themselves and showing to everyone that this is important. This is critical, and that's not just another tool. That's just not any pointless initiative, but it's a central initiative that we should all focus on. So those are the two minimum things that I've always seen in those initiatives that succeeded. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah, well, first, that's a great answer. Number one, you got to have that buy-in from the top if you're doing, a program like this. Too many times there's challenging conditions that are cultural. For instance, in many organizations, the size of the organization, the number of people under you is a measure for success, right? That's got to be broken. It's got to be broken from the top. It's got to be driven. It's got to be understood. So we have to measure things a little bit differently and really have buy-in from the top often, right? And this is true of intelligent automation for the last 5 or 7 years. But I think, Pascal, you made a great point. I'll just turn a little bit to, the critical processes and answer that, Andre, in the spirit of time. I think highly repetitive, rule-based, and time-consuming are 3 things people should be looking for processes. Beyond that, businesses should focus on high-volume, high-impact tasks that directly impact operational efficiency. That's a great thing to know. And finally, target quality control, compliance-related, right? These are areas that we're seeing really significant trends. And the other thought I would say is, well, we're seeing great success. Start small, think big. Right? The systems now, whereas, if you're putting a system, into an environment, you have to spin up a lot of infrastructure, you have to go through security. It used to take 6 to 9 months, even 5 years ago, to do some of this stuff. Now, if you're dealing with cloud-based, you get your security stuff up front, the IT's on board, you can start very quickly. So if you can start small, right? Look at what happens with straight through. Do a simple workflow, right? Make some small modifications. You might not achieve 100%. You're not going to achieve 100% day one, but you might get 50%, right? And then continue to learn and build from that. Look to build on that knowledge and then tackle more complex things. I think the sooner they begin, the faster you'll unlock long-term benefits.
No, thank you both. We're running out of time here. But I just wanted to thank you both for a really insightful talk here on the future of AI and the concept of synthetic labor. I will remind listeners that on October 29th, we've got a real-world example in Belgium brewing. That's another webinar in the Knowledge Lake webinar series. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and register for that. If you have any other follow-up questions, by all means, just email me at afyoshi@knowledgelake.net. And as I said earlier, we will be giving away copies of Pascal's book, Irreplaceable. So you just have to send me an email or scan the QR code and we'll take it from there. So again, thanks to everyone who participated. Russ, Pascal, again, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm sure we'll be in touch in the future. So all good. Thank you both.
Thanks, Andre. Great talking to you, Pascal.
Thank you. Thanks a
Bye
lot.
for now.